yes, today I shall play casual champion review on a champion I've not played in a long time. Enemy mid laner is Diamond Akali main. I love League of Legends. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday, another casual champion review. Today we're going to be playing Lucian in the mid lane because I simply refuse to play bot lane. I know Lucian mid's kind of a thing that's frowned upon. I have to stay true to my guns, like comedy. I can't play bot lane, so we're playing Lucian mid. You know, it's fine because it's getting nerfed like next patch, so I'm getting it in while it's still available. You know what else is still available? Fan art section. That doesn't even make any sense. That hey fellas, look at them Lucians, those goobers. That's a couple references that I understand in there. It's absolutely fantastic. Is it weird that I was like slightly paranoid about what Lulu's gonna be? I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a gremlin creature. She's got a TFT little legend. I'm getting off topic. Thank you for Lucian casual champion review fan art. It's absolutely stupendous, amazing. Thank you so much. I'm probably not going to perform very well at all today, not just because there's a Diamond Akali player as my opponent, but also because I just got off streaming. My throat still hurts a little bit. I'm playing 2xKO. Finally got into the alpha. I played a whole bunch of Alawi. Oh my god, you guys. When that game finally comes out in full, it's an alpha right now. When that game has come out in its full glory, it's going to be amazing. Already is amazing. See, my bot lane died twice, but my top lane got 2 kills. As we all know, top lane is always more valuable than bot lane, and the fact that my bot lane died twice will not dictate the entirety of this game. So Lucian, I feel like as a character, a lot of people actually know the story of because of Ruination Sentinels of Light, but I think a lot of people understand a different version of Lucian that isn't really true to who he actually is because Sentinels of Light, the event, kind of butchered him a little bit. So Lucian was the son of Urius, or Urius? I'm just going to say Urius because it just reminds me of Urian. But Urius was a renowned Sentinel of Light, and Lucian grew up knowing that his dad was a renowned Sentinel of Light and wanted to join the ranks someday as his father's apprentice, but unfortunately he was stuck back home in Demacia. And Lucian kind of hated living in Demacia because he saw all the peaceful mages being unjustly treated and scrutinized, and so he made an attempt to try and save them however he could. And that makes sense considering the Sentinels of Light use relic stones to power their relic weapons, and those are all magical. I think they're even tied to the spirit realm if I'm remembering correctly. And so he tried to help and save these mages where he could, but returning home one day, he found a stranger at his doorstep, and this was revealed to be Senna, who he did not know who she was yet, showing him Urius's relic pistols and explaining that she was his apprentice and that he had died in battle fighting off the Black Mist. Lucian was kind of taken aback by this. He's like, well, you took my job and my dad's dead? This is terrible. But as Senna is leaving to go pay her respects to Urius, a sort of, I think they call it Vigil of the Sentinels, I'm pretty sure it's just like a little mini funeral, and Lucian wants to come along, so reluctantly Senna agrees, and they start traveling to go to his father's birthplace. And they start bonding a little bit. Shared memories of Urius, especially with Lucian, bring kind and compassionate, fond, warm memories of him. And they arrive there, pay their respects to Urius, and then they're attacked with the Black Mist because Senna is a Black Mist magnet. And as she starts to fight off the Black Mist, one of them starts to wrangle Urius's pistol from her hands, drops to the ground, and Lucian, even though he was terrified, runs in, grabs the pistol, and saves Senna from the Wraith. And she fights off the rest of them and realizes, oh, how are you able to fire the relic weapon in the first place? I've never seen anyone untrained in our ways able to do that before, because if you don't know, the relic weapons don't have triggers. They're powered by thought or emotion or something. Oh. Ow! And so Senna indoctrinated him into the Sentinel Order. I didn't cancel it, Zillion. So Zillion took his father's pistol, honoring his memory, while Senna had her own relic pistol. And they grew even closer together, their bond growing over time, fighting off the Black Mist together until it eventually blossomed into love. Because they were kind of a perfect match for each other. Senna was this stern, rule-bound, disciplined leader, while Lucian was this kind of kind and compassionate person. He had this irresistible charm to him that just kind of, it softened Senna a little bit while Senna hardened Lucian. But because they grew so close, Lucian decided, well, I need to cure Senna of this horrible curse that the Black Mist keeps coming after her. We need to stop this. So he makes that his top priority, scouring all over the world to try and find a solution to this problem. But by trying to find that cure, he would eventually stumble upon Thresh. And because Lucian is so dead set on taking this guy out so that he can get this cure for his wife, he ends up being too reckless. So as he's about to die at the hands of Thresh, Senna takes the blow for him and she dies instead, her soul claimed by Thresh's lantern. And then Thresh disappears because he's a little bastard like that. So years would pass, and of course Lucian blames everything on himself, which it kind of is his fault. But because he blames himself and because he lost the one person he cared about more than anything else in the world, he became angry and bitter, hunting Thresh forever to try and bring his loved soul to rest, now wielding both his dad and Senna's pistols. And of course, you know that the Song of Dance, you've seen it 1,000 times with Ruination. He goes in, he goes fights Thresh, he frees Senna from the lamp, and Senna comes out, and she's now like a spirit creature that's using powers of old forgotten sentinels to make a big cannon, and then they go fight the Ruination together and go stop Viego, and other horrible things about that whole sentinel storyline happen. This is a secret strategy. She doesn't know. The coveted AFK strategy has never failed me before, and I've been playing this game for 14 years. Or 15. Okay, I don't want to lose the cannon, though. I'm not that crazy. But it was clear that they both had changed over this long time. Senna, ironically, is only alive by the same forces they're trying to hunt down and destroy. Boom. And Lucian's still angry and bitter from that time he spent apart from her. And he's still so angry and bitter that even though he did free Senna from the lantern, he's still trying to hunt down Thresh and exterminate him permanently. Right now there's a bunch of extra sentinels that he knows about, right? There's Akshan and Vayne's still a sentinel. He had to partner up with Graves and stuff, which it made me realize something. Like, if you think about it, the Sentinels of Light are basically just Green Lanterns. Green Lanterns are stationed on all kinds of different planets so they can occupy a wider area, where the Sentinels have individual stations for each region. They got these super powerful thought and imagination and emotion-powered weapons, and they have a loyalty oath you have to say before you could actually join their organization. Except the Green Lanterns is significantly better. Like, the Sentinels of Light one doesn't even try to rhyme. It's just... I guess on that topic, I was eventually going to bring up Sentinels of Light again, like I do every other casual champion review, because there's so many champions that were a part of that event. But Lucian was especially frustrating compared to a lot of other champions. Like, a lot of the other sentinels you could just write out, like, oh, actually, Rengar was never really a sentinel, Pyke was never really a sentinel, because there's all kinds of different versions of the story from Wild Rift and Runeterra and the comic and the cinematics and everything. But you can't really write Lucian out, can you? And unfortunately, a lot of what Lucian did that's presented as canon was in the visual novel, and you guys ever heard the term flanderization? I'm probably paraphrasing its own definition here. So let's say a character has a tendency to be angry sometimes. As time progresses, that portion of their personality, that anger, that one distinguishing feature becomes their main thing. And that's exactly what happened with Lucian, because that bitterness, that anger at the world was all he was doing in Sentinels of Light. Like, in that visual novel, he was just an unapologetic asshole the whole way through. I mean, like, I get it that he changed. He's not going to be the same super kind, compassionate person he was before he lost Senna. But ideally, you'd want your protagonist to be likable still, right? And I know the rookie's not exactly, I don't even know what the canonicity of the rookie is, but he was always incredibly hostile to the rookie, to all the other sentinels, just belittling them at every single opportunity. It was so completely unlikable and unrealistically angry for no reason. Like, your wife is back, dude. I get that you changed a bit, but it's kind of too much. It's so far. You're not cool anymore. Because to me, Lucian, I never took him as this, like, oh yes, oh I love everything, oh I'm so happy and compassionate. No, that's not who Lucian is. I've made a mistake. What I'm trying to say is that Lucian's personality was always this stern and serious fighter. Like, he will fight to bring his wife back, and he cares deeply about the people that are closest in his life. But that's the key. He has that heart of gold. He has those people he cares about, and he can be compassionate towards others. That whole thing with him with the mages and Demacia, he is this super tough guy with the heart of gold. And that heart of gold just felt lost. He was even bickering with Senna. It didn't feel like Lucian anymore. And then they kind of made him an idiot too. Like, he didn't know anything. He's like, what the hell is this Sentinel hub? Teleportation gun? There are other Sentinels, like the Buru Sentinel? What? Like, Lucian by this point is a pro Sentinel. He was trained by Senna and had to pick up the pieces where she was gone, but he didn't know any of this stuff. If you're trying to have the POV of like, well, we don't know all that stuff, isn't that what the rookie is for? Like, I don't get it. I hated it so much. And that unlikability permeated through that story mode, where at every point that Lucian was available to talk to, no matter what you said, it was the wrong answer. He would get mad at you no matter what you did. And I get it, that was the point. They're trying to make parallels with him and Viego, that they are both very overprotective of their wife. But you can have those parallels to your character, not make it, well, Lucian is just Viego, but on our side and not as corrupted yet. I don't know. I'd hope that they bring him back at some point. They try to ease that in a little bit, still give him that edge that he has already, because he is supposed to be this big, no-nonsense tough guy. He was hardened a bit by Senna's discipline and rules and trying to get her back in the first place, so I can understand why he's not as soft as he used to be. But it's not exactly unique to him. Sentinels of Light did that to all their characters. But Lucian was not free from controversy before Sentinels. For the people who don't know, Lucian was the first black man to be added to League. It was pretty much all just white and Asian dudes before, mostly white dudes. So it was kind of a big deal that Lucian was coming to the game. Of course, it's kind of unfortunate that the first black man added to League has a drive-by ability and uses guns. I'd like to believe that was just an unfortunate coincidence on the designer's part, but he'll never be able to shake that, which kind of sucks. Primarily because Lucian is just supposed to be badass. The point of Lucian is you're supposed to look at him and think, damn, that guy looks fucking cool. Holy gunslinger, the long dreads, golden decor, the white and black long coat. And I think he does that pretty well. I wouldn't say Lucian's amazing. I'd say primarily that's just because, unfortunately, he's quite an old champion now. Came out in Season 3. That was well over a decade ago. And by that point, we'd gotten his wife. So we got Senna, but we also got Elawar and the other Sentinels that appeared in Sentinels of Light. So we have a massive frame of reference to look at him and then look at the other Sentinels and think, you know, all the other Sentinels do kind of look cooler than he does, unfortunately. But I think that's largely because they incorporate more of their home regions into their designs. The Buru Sentinel having the Buru tattoos. Desinata having those big puffy pants from Piltover. Alliteration. Exhaust is my worst nightmare. I am my own worst nightmare. I live. Though I think that lack of region identity might actually be on purpose, because if you remember, he kind of disowned Demacia. He didn't like how they were treating the mages, so I can understand why he wouldn't have Demacian elements in his design. But again, I think because of that, because each other Sentinel has that piece of their region, it gives each design a lot more flavor. Again, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with Lucian. He does his job, he looks cool, he looks badass. I don't think he looks exceptionally badass. Like his high noon skin does. And that way, I wouldn't really know how to change him, nor that I think he really needs changes. He does his job, and what more can you expect, really? The more controversial thing about Lucian, I think anyway, well, you probably ask anybody who plays this game, is Lucian's gameplay. I mean, you can't tell right now, because, unfortunately, you know, top lane impact is negligible, but he's caused a bit of a commotion in the League of Legends meta. Some of you may remember from a few years ago, the Lucian mid meta was terrorizing so much so they had to rework him so he wouldn't actually perform very well in mid lane without a partner. That might even still be in the game, actually. And I think that's a complete shame, because out of all the AD carries in the game, you guys know I hate this class of champions. Ow! Lucian, I think, is probably one of the more well-designed ones. Man, I'm dead. So I think as a kit, he is incredibly satisfying. The resets feel fair because you have to use other abilities to get those resets, except you can't spam your abilities because then you miss out on a crap ton of damage. You don't have a Silas pity system where, you know, when Silas spams all his abilities, he banks up all the stacks of his passive. You can't do that for Lucian. If I Q, I get my double hit, and then I get another double hit. If I use all three of my abilities in succession, then I only get my passive once. So it incentivizes spamming your abilities, yes, but it also incentivizes proper pacing. It's this really exciting mix of fast-paced yet methodical gameplay I really enjoy. That's not to say I enjoy playing it myself too much. Again, I don't play AD carries very much at all, regardless of whether or not they're actually better mid lane than bot lane. But I think as a kit, everything just feels well designed. Everything has a purpose. Even this W, like, there we go. It's just used to reset my passive, but it also opens the door for funny AP builds if you want to. I think he mainly hits that mark because he was the second foray into this kind of gameplay in League. Before, I think probably the closest one we had was Zed. We didn't have Yasuo yet at the time. Oh my goodness. And so Lucian was this attempt to bring yet another super flashy character into the game. A champion who would look incredibly stylish, has a bit of a higher skill ceiling, because before then, the most complicated you get was like Rengar. Rengar's not even that complicated, but you know, you have to use your combo in midair, and especially for 80 carries. 80 carries, pretty much all of them were just carbon copies of Ashe. They all played just walk up and right click them, no care in the world. Whereas Lucian was an attempt to make a bit of an AD caster in a way. It was unique and stylish and fun, and I think it still is to this day. Again, it's just unfortunate that his moveset just happened to be so perfect for being a horrible lane bully in the mid lane. I don't even know how that started or when it started. I don't know. I have a hard time blaming him for that. I feel it's like the same thing as Orianna or Twisted Fate, where I feel like those are all incredibly well-designed champions that unfortunately just get hit by random item changes. Oh! Yes, sir. I'm sure happy our top laner got ahead and our bot lane didn't. I wonder why people are playing marksman in the top lane. You know, I just had a thought, though. I might as well use the anyway. Shouldn't this be like a beam? Like, if the relic weapons are powered by thought, then how come they still fire individual bullets? Could you not just fire, like, a laser beam at them? Is there rules? I don't know. Sentinels of Light introduced like a gun that revives people, and Diana traded in her obviously much more powerful celestial weapon, and Olaf just uses axes. Sentinels of Light had no rules. As for skins, I've already mentioned that High Noon is by obvious metric his best. Hey, it has a bit of a janky idle animation. I don't know if you've ever seen it at ground level. Looks a little goofy, but I think that skin just completely encapsulates exactly what you want from Lucian. You want this angry with a harder gold badass gunslinger, and adding that half demon cowboy aesthetic. And that was back when High Noon Gothic was first introduced to reinvent the old High Noon skin line. My god, what an awesome skin. He's got a couple other good ones, namely Demacia Vice. I've said 1,000 times I think Demacia Vice should have had more promotion because it's a fun idea, but they never went back to it. League of Legends players moment. What a wonderful community. I'm going back to playing 2x KO, I think. Thank you for watching this week's Casual Champion Review, fellas. I'm walking in place, and I'll see you next week for Lulu. Okay? Goodbye.